Good evening. My name is Julian Jones, and welcome to How Did You Get That Shot? In this new series, I show you a photograph that I captured, and I take you step by step into how you can recreate that same image. Today, we're going to be photographing a wine bottle on the stove, very much like the Alamos wine bottle that I captured in April of 2013. To capture this photograph, I used a Nikon D5100 with a 24-70mm 2.8 lens. I had my shutter speed set at 30 seconds and my aperture set at f/18. My ISO was at 100. What you're going to need would be a tripod and your camera. In this case, I'm using a Nikon D90 and I have a 35mm 1.8 lens. Now, you don't have to have exactly this type of camera to capture it. You can do it with any other professional camera or advanced cameras and some point and shoot, as long as you're able to have manual control over your aperture and your shutter speed and your ISO, because you may need to give or play just to get the best shot that you want. You'll also need a flashlight and, of course, the lovely subject, the bottle of wine. You don't necessarily have to use it on the stove, or you can have any other background that you like to use. I just did this in the kitchen, and so I'm going to recreate it for you guys. Alright, first things first, make sure you got bottle placement where you want it, all the lights off. You know, in my case, I'd have to turn off the lights so I don't have anything that's going to affect it. And then we start using the camera. Okay, we're going to turn on the light and we're going to frame up our subject. We're going to position the camera and get our focus as to how we'd like to have it for this particular shot. And then we're going to zoom in on our subject and make sure that we got it almost tack sharp, close as tack sharp as we can get. Alright, this is what it's looking like right now. Got it framed up. Then I'm going to turn off all of my autofocus, because I don't want it shifting when the light is dark. Now, for the depth of field, I want the front of the bottle and the back of the bottle to be as much in focus, as well as, you can focus on the bottle if you like, but I can do that. But to go with the photograph, we're going to go ahead and focus for the front and the back. So I got the bottle in focus. In order to have everything in front and everything back in focus, that's where we change the aperture. Normally I like to shoot at 1.8, but we're going to take it up to f/18, so it'll be pretty much the same. Okay, on my camera I put it on manual mode, which is the M, and then I change my f-stop to f/18, and then I change my shutter speed down to 30 seconds, and then I make sure that my ISO is at 100. Now, it's also good to have a remote so that you can trigger the camera if you like, but we're not going to use that for this moment. Okay, we've got the camera pretty much set up, and we're ready to take our first photograph. When you, and I'll show you this before I take the photograph, when you light paint, that's basically what we're going to be doing. If you take the flashlight, you can be close to the subject, but you're dancing the light around the subject, and then a little bit in the front, maybe some on the back. But you want to keep in mind that you don't want the light to go back to the camera. It's going to create the glare and cause the camera to go out of focus or overexpose the image. So we'll just dance the light around the bottle. You can create some professional lighting type setups by using a flashlight, especially if you don't have that kind of gear. If there's also other means that you can use. You can use a cell phone You can use the light on a cell phone, and you can also use, if you got, a flash, that you can, off-camera flash, you can pop it like that within the shot. In this particular case, we'll just use a flashlight. Alright, I'm going to turn the light off, and we're going to take our first preliminary photograph. I'm dancing the light around it, make sure I get the label, a little bit of rim light on the back. And I'll turn the light off and we'll see how I did. Sometimes you can cover up the front of the camera so that it doesn't allow any other light to come in while it's still open. Let's see how that turned out. Should be done. Still take it. Okay, and we've got our shot. We're going to take another. Let you review this shot here for a second. Alright, now we're going to take our second shot. Light up the stove a little more, and now light up the bottle, rim light. The other side. A little bit on the front, make sure you get the label good. Cover up the light. Still capturing. I could probably take my shutter speed down a little more if I wanted to. Because normally when you have it at 30 seconds, it's for like a really dark room. And now we look at our second image. Of course, I got a little bit of the light in the shot, which is what I was talking about, how you want to be careful not to have the flashlight point back at the camera. But for artistic sake, you can do that. And I'll go with my third shot. You're gonna light the bottle up some more. Light the stove up real good. Sometimes you can put your hand behind it if you want to get real close to the back of the bottle. Get real close to the subject because you don't want the light to hit the camera. You can block it with your hand or a black piece of paper or a dark cloth or something that won't reflect light off of it. Otherwise it'll show up as a light glare. And here is our third image. For our fourth image, we're just going to experiment with using a flash. I'll trigger the camera right now. The flash is however distance that I want it from the subject, so I'll make sure that my flash is turned on, and then I have the test button so I can pop the flash. I'll pop it there, pop it the back side, right here, there, maybe one above. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's almost as if I got 4 external flashes that's going to be triggering the bottle at once. And here's the final image of that shot. I hope you enjoyed this very short segment as to how you can photograph the wine bottle to recreate the image like the one I've shown you before, using either a flashlight or an external off-camera flash, or you can even use a bigger light. It's up to you, but the main things to keep in mind is that you have a tripod or a steady surface that you can set your camera on while it's taking an extended exposure. The camera, which would have the capabilities of allowing you to shoot in manual mode so you can have control of the shutter speed as well as the aperture and ISO. Some point and shoots I know allow it. Of course, the advanced and professional, all the upper series cameras would have it. With that being said, that concludes this edition of How Did You Get That Shot? Until next time. step how I capture it. I can't do it like. What I would do is I would show you a photograph that I captured back in the day, and show you how I got the blah blah blah. In this series, I show you. I had a squirrel moment.